So you can see what we've removed here. The rear seats, the rear parcel shelf, the side panels left and right, the little C-pillar panels there. We've still got the roof lining in, but pretty much everything else, all the sound deadening except this deadening here that's actually glued down, but anything that can be easily pulled out, unbolted, unclipped, that's all out of here. And as including the rear parcel shelf and all the anchor points for seats, etc. In the boot or trunk, we've taken the trim off of here, all of the trims and sound deadening out of this area. So it's all there. All the electrical is still there. We haven't removed anything. I'll start pulling bits out soon of that, but yeah, all of that. All of the trims and everything else are out. And this is most of it. All but a few nuts and bolts and other bits and pieces are in the shed. And this adds up to 52 kilos so far. So we're already a third of the way to our weight reduction, and none of this has to go back in. So here's an update a few hours later, and probably the main things that we've done here. The roof lining's out. Now that in itself took a long time and only picked up about 1.5 kilos of weight reduction, but I needed to remove it anyway because I'm going to take the whole sunroof cassette out and the glass, and hopefully that picks me up another 8 or 10 kilos. But yeah, roof lining is out. A few more bits and pieces in around the back there, fittings and some other bits and pieces up on the back parcel shelf, but that's what we've been doing in there. The door trims are off, and amazing how much they weighed. There's two door trims there, together at 11.5 kilos. So yeah, 11.8 or something kilos, so quite significant. In the boot here, trunk, we had a whole bunch of electrical boxes in there, so I've identified them. I don't know, TV module, radio assembly, amp, 6 CD stacker. Yeah, I'm not going to need any tunes, so all of that's going, and there it all is down there. So all up now, we are at it's about another 22 kilos, 25 kilos actually, I think. So all up now, it is 77 kilos removed. So I'm over halfway, and I've still got the front seats to swap out with something lighter, so we'll pick up weight there. We'll pick up weight with the sunroof cassette. So yeah, feeling confident that we're going to get to this 150 kilo target. The weight loss program continues, and we've got these temporary cheap seats I bought on Marketplace. They're about 13 or 14 kilos, I think, with a bracket, so less than half the weight of the original seat. So they'll do me for the time being until we find something more suitable. They get the weight down. That's the main thing. The last major item to be removed on the interior here is the sunroof, and I believe I'm going to end up saving about 14 to 15 kilograms by removing the whole sunroof and its mechanisms, and that's going to be replaced by this sunroof delete panel from Nelson Racing Design, carbon fibre one-piece panel. And it's just arrived. It's a pretty cool bit of gear. The carbon fibre looks like it's missing one of the weaves through here, but hey, that's carbon fibre. It's got a bit of character, and it's not perfectly smooth. If you see the lines in my fence there, so I move the camera around, you'll see them getting closer and further together. So it's not perfectly smooth, but yeah, as long as it seals properly, or that I can seal it properly, and it saves me weight, that's all I care about. The sunroof is out, and I've just taken a wet rag, cleaned all around the edges of it, cleaned all the dirt out, and sunroof panel about to go in. Now, there's a seal on here, weather seal, and with the weather seal on there, it pushes up on this edge, and that's like a lip there, an edge. So I'm guessing that will slowly over time push into this to form the seal. But initially, my initial sort of just pushing it up in place, the sunroof sits a few millimeters below the edge of the roof line, so there is going to form a bit of a puddle in it, I'm guessing, but we'll try it with that weather seal, and yeah, over time I suspect it might sort of lift up, and then there'll be less of a puddle, and hopefully that will seal. If it doesn't, then we'll just have to maybe either run some silicone around it with the steel still on there, or take the seal out, which will allow the panel to sit up a bit higher, flush with the top of the roof, and then just run a little bead of silicone around it. It's all fitted, and I've poured some water on it. It's sitting fairly low here, so it's been installed for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours now, and I was hoping the seal would compress and this might lift up a bit. It's sitting quite a bit lower. Might be hard to tell with the sun there, but it's sitting quite a bit lower than the edge of the roof there on both back corners. Front corners aren't so bad, but yeah, definitely the back corners, and yeah, that's where it's leaking from, so you can see a drip coming down. So due to the leak, I removed the sunroof, removed the seal from it, and when I did that, I noticed that back here along the back edges, the corners, the seal didn't have any imprint in it left by the seal of the sunroof opening. So therefore the seal wasn't effective. It wasn't even touching, and that's why I was letting water in here. When I took it out, I was hoping to remove the seal and then reinstall the sunroof without the seal and have the sunroof lift up, or the sunroof panel I should say, lift up a little bit. But considering it wasn't even touching here anyway, meant that it hasn't ended up any higher with or without the seal, so I probably could have left the seal on there. But I did remove the seal, and I've reinstalled the sunroof and put a bead of silicone around the edge of it. So I did this in the middle of the night and before it rained, and yeah, it's worked out all right. It's pretty neat and tidy. It's just a light grey bit of roof and gutter silicone in there, but yeah, the sunroof still has a bit of a recess in it, so it gets this pooling and a bit of pooling here in the front corner. So yeah, unfortunately they didn't make it that it was a little bit higher to minimise the amount of water that's going to pool in the corners. The rear bumper is off, as well as this rear crash bar. And the rear crash bar there that we removed is 8 kilos of weight that's coming off. However, it is being replaced by this 21 kilo tow bar. So the net result is a 13 kilogram increase to the weight, not the direction I want to be going, but this second-hand tow bar came up for sale, and they're very rare for the 335, so I've jumped on it, and we're going to be fitting that. Obviously the tow bar will be able to tow a trailer for drag challenge as a support trailer to tow behind the vehicle. And if I end up in the trap speed of 135 or 140 mile an hour or whatever it is that I need a parachute, then this ADR approved tow bar gives me somewhere to attach the parachute. So that'll be going on the car now and adding 13 kilos of weight. Here's a breakdown of the weight reduction, all of the items, and their sort of sum of the weights of those items there. The total, pretty much all of it coming from the interior, and the total weight coming out there was just over 192 kilos. I think the rear crash bar was the only item that wasn't in the interior. And then we had a bunch of items going back in, including those seats, and along with some brackets for those at 33 kilos. That's an area I think I can quite easily find some lighter seats again that might save me another 10 kilos there. And I've always got that rear tow bar that if I could be bothered taking the rear bumper off, I could remove that and reduce that weight by a further 15.8 kilos. But all up, 50 kilos going back in, and that gives me a total weight reduction of about 142 kilos. We've still got the power steering system to be removed, as well as a heavy stock exhaust and some other items under the car, some more sound deadening under the car and in the engine bay. And so I think it's going to be quite achievable to get to that 150 kilogram weight reduction target. And with the majority of the internal weight reduction done, the next step is for the engine to come out to be rebuilt.